Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TrackMania Grand League Challenger Series. This is going to be Step 6. My name is Snowman, and I am super excited to get into our cast. Of course, we are RGB Esports, and we will be following our good man Nixotica here for his 6th step. We got a lot of exciting stuff. Very interesting map 5 this time around. Lots of bounces and a couple grass slides, so will be pretty fun. But just to get warmed up as we're getting ready for the match here, we can talk about the step format in case you need a little bit of a refresher. So we'll be playing 5 maps today. First 4 will be in laps mode. Those will be 6 laps each, and your position gains you some healthy points based on if you can get top 8 or not. You can see like there's a big gap between the 8th and ninth position, and that is to encourage nice, very fast, risky lines. So we'll see the players trying to push for those top 8s and gathering as many points as they can in preparation for the final map, and that will be in rounds mode. It'll be 2 laps each, and the winner of each round will get a nice multiplier for themselves. Final map will be the most important as the multipliers can get quite big as we've seen in previous steps, but we'll get into that as we move forward. But for now, looks like the players are going to be loading into our first map here, and that will be Vertigo. We can get the map preview going here. Vertigo, a map that we have seen quite a few times now. Obviously known for its pipe balances, proper risk. So we see the players balancing on 2 different pipe sections. First one shown there is the U-turn section, important to get a very healthy exit, as you'll be driving in freewheel up until the final pipe section, as we saw a little glimpse there. With reactor boost, it's very easy to full send it, and it's very easy to fall off and lose mountains of time. So we'll see a lot of back and forth, I suspect. There's a couple players on this map to note. Otak being one. Last I checked, he had the world record on it, beating even the regular Grand League players, as well as Wosile. Wosile has been very quick on this map, but he does tend to make mistakes as well, so we might see him jumping up and down the live ranking order. But this map will be very interesting to have as a first map because it is so punishing. So a lot of the players are going to want to come into this first map and get in good mental space because it can really set the tone for the match as a whole. But when you have such a difficult map, such as this one, first, with such an easy path to mistakes, that can be difficult to set yourself up well. We know that Nixo had a not so great last step, but he'll be looking to start off this one nice and good as we roll into Vertigo. This will be lap 1. Nixo sitting in the mid pack as of right now, heading into the first of our U-turn pole runs. Goes a little bit wide. Actually is able to prevent himself from falling off by bumping against the pillar there. So not the most ideal, but not the worst thing in the world. We saw 6 players fall off in the very first run of the pipes, and they have lost a respective amount of seconds. Otak actually fell off at that start, so I kind of cursed him there. But Nixo sitting in 10th right now, able to survive the little bit of a, as we say, trip But he'll look to calm his nerves a bit as he is hunting down Fegley for that 9th position. Only 2 seconds back from 8th spot. Of course, top 8 is, again, what we're going to be looking to grab here. The points difference between 8th and, say, 5th is only about 3 points, so anywhere in that range, you're going to be sitting very pretty. As we see Nixo jumping up into that 8th spot as a couple more players make some mistakes. I believe Snow has dropped down, as well as, I think, Hydra was an additional one. But Nixo overtaking Fegley as well as he goes into the 2nd round of the identity. Very clean exit as well. So good pace out of him. Of course, Nixotica, known for his consistent times. He may lack slightly in top end compared to the other players, but he is able to run very smooth, consistent lines and capitalize on other people's mistakes. And in this lap format, that's really all you need to do. You can, if you put together 4 top 8 finishes, you're gonna be sitting pretty heading into the multiplier round. So nice and steady on the U-turn there. Not the best exit speed, but again, hasn't fallen off, hasn't lost unnecessary seconds to silly mistakes. As we see Miquatro here, wants to get in a little bit on the action. So overtakes Nixo for that 7th position. Actually, great speed out of that pole, and he decides to nearly full speed the identity. Will overtake Cap, who has a very wonky exit, and will lose out on that speed. Nixo will capitalize as well, move himself up into the 7th position. So it looks like Miquatro is hunting for those top places now. We'll see if he can keep up that pace. Nixo, again, running very consistent in 7th. Currently has a nice, looks about 2-second buffer to the 8th or 9th position that Otak currently sits in. We also see Mime down in 10th place, a name we do not usually see in the bottom 8. So both those players will be hunting Nixo here, who's currently sitting in the 8th position now. Will have more speed than Cap. Well, he did have more speed before he entered in the penalty grass. Takes the first pipe pretty safe. Slides a little bit on the entry of the identity, but will again take a nice, safe, and clean exit as he rolls into lap number 5. Nixo with a little bit of a wider entry into the tarmac. The players do have to release on that drop in order to land smoothly. They will carry more speed than necessary. Going into the U-turn again. Ooh, Cap, way too much speed on the entry. Has to adjust his line. Is able to stay on and recover, but will lose out to Nixo. We do see a couple people dropping. Again, it is Miquatro, so that fast pace has not paid off for him. He has dropped down into the 11th position. Nixo up into 6th with that consistent strategy. Very, very nice for him. We'll see if he can keep it up going into the final lap here. We've actually pulled the front runners into view now. So we see Wosile and Solja battling it out for the 4th position. But Nixo, again, will be perfectly fine. He will see that he's in 6th position as the number on their cars is visible to the players. So he'll know that he's got a good amount of room to work with. Currently with about 3 seconds back from 9th position that Mime currently stands in. So Nixo takes the U-turn nice and easy. Gets a pretty good exit out. We'll go for the inside line instead of outside of the tree. Going into the final set of poles here. Looks like there won't be any big mistakes on the players in front of him, so he will take on that 6th position. Yes, indeed. Default actually wins this map, a name that we don't usually see in the winners table. But he puts in a nice run for himself, able to grab that 1st position. We see Evon in 2nd, Wosal in 3rd without making a mistake this time around. NRGC in 4th, Soldier in 5th, and Nixo in 6th. So good run and good start for Nixotica. I'm sure he's very pleased with that and in a much better mental state than if he would have made any major mistakes early on. So we will be rolling into map number 2 here. This will be Poolside by Kisla. So Poolside, known for its water, and with water comes nice slippery tires. Sometimes you want to slide, other times you don't. And we'll see that on show on this map. We'll see the players go for 2 different strategies before the identity. So there's 3 different water sections. The first one being a simple water section into dirt. Dirt to water does almost have 0 effect. And then we'll see a water into tarmac. And on that, we'll see players using either a no slide line or a slide and then cancel line. Both are about the same, although the slide cancel line is much riskier, but can win you a couple tenths if you are really pushing. And then we'll see the final water section, which is the identity, and that will be water and plastic. And if you're sliding on plastic with water wheels, it's basically like you're driving on ice, minus the actual ice in this game.
Hello.
Hey. Hello.
Hello, everyone. It's randomized here. Sorry I run late. Unfortunately, I have church duties. I could turn my mic up. Apparently, I'm too quiet. But hello, everyone. Snowman, thank you so much for holding down the fort last week. I really do appreciate it. And I am here. I'm back. And I guess I missed the first map, but seeing Nixotica sitting with 17 points seems like it went really well.
Yes, indeed. He was running very consistent and able to capitalize on people's mistakes through Vertigo. But snaps himself a nice 17 points as we head into this second map.
All right. So this one, if I remember, is Poolside, and you were just describing it earlier. If I remember correctly, Nixotica last week had a little bit of a hard time with this map, but in the past has done pretty well, being very consistent with it. And you know, Nixotica has been tweeting out saying, hey, I may be one of the slower ones, but I have consistency under my belt, and I got something under my belt ready for you. And we've already seen it in the first one. And no, remark, I am not an altar boy. I am an organist. There's a difference. I hide from people, not stand in front of them. That'll be my only comment there. But a really good start right off the bat. Nixotica up in 4th. And, commentator curse. Snowman, take over.
Oh, you're just going to leave me with that? All right. Yeah, Nixo, not with the best water exit there, does end up sliding out and bumping into the wall. A mistake that I haven't usually seen, but mistakes like that can happen quite easily. He doesn't lose too much, though. Only falls about 1.5 seconds back from the 8th spot as the pack is very close. But this is a map that is not necessarily risky, and I expect to see some pretty close fights. So he'll have to push if he really wants to make up that gap.
Yeah, one of the things I'm actually appreciating. Oh, someone was upside down. Who was that?
Yeah, it looks like Fegley. Yeah, he landed on the bump a little bit too far to the right, and it just completely flipped him over.
Oh, that's a rough one. But as I was saying earlier, one of the things I really do appreciate about a lot of these maps for this week, it's step 6, is that the maps themselves seem like they're pretty well raceable. Like, these are somewhat more like not quirky, weird movements through the entire map, um, but their identities are what's very interesting. I mean, this one for Poolside, not that bad. I think I just saw a German player, Revolution, I believe, just crashed right into one of it. As I was saying, the identity is not that hard. And Nixotica actually sliding a tiny bit, but able to recover, and now sitting in 11th place. Still not that far back, about a second behind 8th place, right behind Snow. But again, we're only in lap 6. I mean, sorry, we're in only lap 3 of 6. That's what I meant to say. And anything can happen. I think I'm starting to see some more people actually um, taking the water skip, taking a chance, or at least landing a little bit more in the middle of the water. So that may extend their leads if they're doing it correctly, which will make it a lot harder for our buddy here in Nixotica to come back. But again, it's just about consistency. This map, not too tricky, not too many insane movements or anything that can really catch you off guard. Just a little bit of mistakes here and there that can throw you back. Exotica doing a really great job there, not getting the water wheels so he doesn't slide around. And he catches up against Mime. Mime's slipping way behind everyone. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him, but that allows Nixotica to climb back up into 8th place, no man.
Yeah, Mime was actually at the top battling very closely with Otek and Razi, so I'm surprised to see him fall all the way down on that one mistake, although we did not quite catch what he did.
Yeah,
But
not sure, but he's still sitting 0.5 behind Exotica. So Mime didn't fall too far back, but point-wise, it looks like a very drastic fall.
yeah, exactly. The difference between that 8th and 9th again is brutal. So Mime will be looking to push on Nixo here, but I'm sure that won't phase him too much. He's very much focused on his own pace. As we see him actually gaining closer to the pack in front, Style, Revolution, Hydra, and Snow, all battling in the top 4 through 7th positions. As we see Nixo going a nice wide line to keep the no slide. He's never been one to go for the slide route, as it is a bit riskier. And there's not too much to be game.
My slide route is wall, wall, and a lot of wall.
The old wall ride route. Yeah.
Too bad it's not all plastic and I can't just bounce off of it. But that's the reason why we hire Nixotica here to play and not have me play. Doing a great job, Nixotica, staying consistent, as well as the 1st through 7th players. I haven't really been seeing too much flip-flopping happening up there either. It's just one nice conga line of the top 8 players. Mime is starting to catch up in 9th place, but he is about a second and a few tenths of a second behind. So Nixotica sitting pretty comfortably in 8th place for now, but there are still 1.5 laps left to go. And Fegley, unfortunately, still sitting all the way in the back and still losing more time. I think Fegley is kind of given up on this one. I don't blame him. He had a rough flip, and then from there, it's just been hard to bounce back. So our American comrade may have to bounce back in the next map, but Nixotica is starting to get a little bit closer. He's making his turns a lot tighter. Oh, he slips a little bit, so that gives Wallside a little bit of lead. Oh, someone ended up catching the water, and I think that was Snow, who ended up being too far into the water, and that ends up throwing him down to 11th place. He's falling hard, and someone who didn't do too well in Vertigo, that was not the time for him to make the mistake here in the last lap. Nixotica sitting now in 7th place, a much more comfortable position as well, since Mime is about a second behind Nixotica still. So great lead for Nixotica, and the rest of the crew, 1st through 6th, we're all up ahead.
Yeah, Mime with Mi4 breathing down his neck as well, only 0.16 a difference between those two players, so the pressure will be mounting, and it won't be on Nixo as he gains ever so closer to Wosal going into the final identity here. will probably look to take it nice and easy, considering he knows he is in that 7th position and has room to spare. Actually, we see
Ooh.
Revo sliding out a bit, so Nixo will nab an extra position.
Hey, we take those.
Yeah.
6th place. Great play.
Back-to-back 6 places is
Back
a
to back, yeah.
great start.
I mean, this is looking a lot better in the past. Again, I've been saying in all the other steps is that you can still make a comeback. It's gonna really come down, especially for Nixotica. It's gonna come down to that 5th map, and we've seen the previews of it. Anyone that hasn't been keeping eyes on it, you're in for a treat on that 6th map. I mean, sorry, on that 5th map. I don't want to spoil it too much, but that's gonna be it for Poolside, and I'm actually having a blank on what our next map is. So our production team is gonna show us its Launchpad, the Rocket League map that I like to call it. So let's check out this awesome map. Fairly easy map to drive around. It's actually our first time being introduced to the ice blocks, as well as seeing a lot more plastic, and very excited for it. But then we have to play some Quidditch or some Rocket League and fly through 2 rings to checkpoints and 1 ring to reset your car. A lot of players made mistakes when the map first shown, and we saw even more players make mistakes. So players like Nixotica, who likes to play more consistent than fast and risky, may benefit from this one. So we got a minute to warm up. Anything, Snowman, that you think we should be watching out for this map?
I think we're just gonna have to focus on the identity. There isn't too much you can win in the rest of the map. It's relatively straightforward. So we're gonna see a lot of players holding station up until the identity, and it'll just be a matter of putting in identity after identity, and not really, again, not making any mistakes. This map is quite clearly very easy to just fly out on.
I gotta say that was a really nice recovery by Nixotica. Too bad it's just the warm up, but I mean, hey, if that was if that's his only mistake for this map, I'll take it in the warm up.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes making mistakes in warm up is actually somewhat beneficial, as it puts your mind to focusing and saying, all right, need to remember, adjust this line one way, or focus on this section that I might have been a little bit negligent on. So it really can set your mind into a good space, even if it looks like they're a bit flailing.
So, Snowman, I actually want... this is only the first lap, so we have a little bit of space to kind of talk about other things. Snowman, I know you know this game a lot better than I do. Can you explain, because RBG Esports is new to TrackMania, so we do have a lot of people who just come here to represent anyone that plays for the organization. There are 2 special mechanics. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention, this is also the first time we see stadium grass as well on any of the maps. But with that being said, there are 2 mechanics that I would like you to explain, because you can probably explain them a lot better than I can. Can you explain wiggling as well as how ice drifting works?
Yes. So wiggling is an interesting mechanic, and it has to do with the fact that if you are in a particular high enough gear, so in this case it's usually 4 and above, and you start a drift in a very sort of slight manner. So you have, let's say you have 2 skid marks and they are just slightly apart from each other, your car will actually accelerate faster than it would if it was just in a straight line. So what wiggling does is essentially, if you want to go straight and also have changing skid marks, you can wiggle back and forth on a slippier, more slippy surface, and you will actually accelerate faster. So it's just kind of abusing a little bit of a maybe bug in the physics, but it's been around since the beginning of TrackMania, so. And then
I just want to have people understand that, because we are also going to be seeing that in another map where some of the players are going to have to take advantage to wiggle to get another gear, and we'll explain it when we get there.
yes, that is another facet of wiggling is gear management. So when you do wiggle, you will obviously accelerate faster, but also move up into a gear sooner. And the sooner you can gear up, the faster you will go. So it's a little bit of a give and take. And don't have to get too much into it, as it can get pretty in depth. But certainly, as we watch the ice here, I can explain the ice sliding. It's a lot simpler. Basically, if you rotate your car a full 90 degrees, you will take the corner faster. Why that is, couldn't quite tell you. That's just how ice is and how it's been programmed. But you'll see the players almost fully rotate and then suddenly gain much more speed and grip through the corner, as if more than if they were to just take it at let's say 30-degree angle or some normal turning angle.
Yeah, you just saw Nixotica right there actually do a little bit of a wiggle. So he is trying to gain some of that speed. If I'm seeing it, he's actually sitting in fourth gear right now. You can actually tell by the back of the car. Something I learned just recently, the game actually shows their gears with the lights in the back of their car. So a little tricky to see it, but it's there, and you can tell unless you have all the speeds per units memorized. Or nice ice slide from Nixotica here. Gives himself a little bit of a wider angle to continue this one. He is currently battling for 7th and 8th place with Razi. As you can see, Razi just passing him there from the ice slide transition to here in the plastic. So Nixotica is still sitting in the top 8, which is really nice, but he has Link about a half a second behind him, so he doesn't have a lot of breathing room right now. Currently have been doing the identity pretty well. Oh, and there goes Razi. Or wait, no, I think no, that was Razi. Razi,
yeah, it was.
ends up hitting the checkpoint there.
Yeah, he took the exit of the identity a bit too wide and ended up flying all over through the checkpoint. As we see Nixo making a uncharacteristic mistake, makes a slight touch, but luckily he had a booster right after that checkpoint, so he was able to not lose too much speed. He did lose out to Link, and we'll have Fegley hunting him down, but look at this ice
slide. Oh, Nixotica is able to overtake Link. Link just didn't have a lot of speed going into it, and Nixotica was able to get a nice slide, but Link ended up getting a better recovery than Nixotica, and it looks like so did Fegley. So Fegley, our American comrade, does knock Nixotica down into 8th place, but there's still one more lap to go after this, and we have the identity 2 more times. Plenty of error room right now. Let's see how everyone does. Pretty well through the second ring. Slowly but surely, Nixotica, oh, Craster Curse again, ends up bumping it. He's going to have to back up into the checkpoint. Still had the booster, so it actually ends up letting him drive forward a little bit on that plastic a little bit faster. So a rough mistake to happen there, but you know what? Hey, he's still able to recover. Oh, he took that turn too high. Oh man, Nixotica is probably really thrown off. That's one of the things about Rocket League. Sorry, not Rocket League. I talked about earlier about TrackMania. It's almost like a rhythm game. You know, you got your muscle memory down, and one thing throws you off, and it kind of becomes like a domino effect. You just start to make a mistake after mistake. So unfortunately, Nixotica does fall down to 14th place, and he's gonna have to really kind of let that one go and focus on the next map when he gets there. But sitting 14th place still allows you to get some points. But the rest of the top 8 are pretty much finishing up this lap. As Mime, who I expected to win this one because he honestly does this map the best, will win first place, followed by Soldier, Hydra, and Volsile up in 4th place. Evan will take 5th. Energize will take 6th. Fegley in 7th, who had a rough beginning, but able to come back. Link in 8th. Cap in 9th. Revolution 10th, followed by Snow, Razi and then Nixotica, our buddy, down in 13th. So he only gets 2 points from this one. And that's the thing about Launchpad. It is one of the most unforgivable identities out of all of them out there.
Yeah, it's really difficult to recover. Nixo was actually sliding quite a bit because he had to touch into the water, and he wasn't able to get rid of his water wheels as the next surface that he was driving on was plastic.
That's right.
So that was not helping with trying to get back onto his line. But he'll look to shake it off as we roll into our next map here. It will be Bolt Holes.
Butthole. I mean, bolt hole. You're correct. I love this map. Honestly, so man, this map, I have to say, is well developed, well routed. I personally enjoy this map a lot playing it. I just play it for fun. This map isn't too crazy hard. It's all about just driving nicely. It kind of feels like that nice, smooth track of the day style map. But then the identity, which we were seeing right here on your screen, is jumping through the bolt holes of the map. And that last one, you're really going to have to focus on your speed as well. So we'll see that when we get there. A little less than a minute of warm up in this one. Again, this one is just a smooth ride through it all. Nothing too crazy, nothing too tricky. It's really going to come down to how well can you drive that line? How well can you follow that line for the 6 laps to just consistently gain speed and not lose too much of it? I mean, we see a nice grass slide to not your typical type of dirt. That dirt is more of what you usually see on the sideline. So it makes you lose some of your speed. And you don't want to enter that in an angle or come out of that dirt in an angle because you will lose even more speed. But here we are in the identity. Nixotica jumps through the first one very well. Second one also very well. And then here, they're going to come up to this one, but they're also going to have to release a little bit if they're going too fast. It's all about controlling your speed there, because if you go way too fast, you can actually jump over it. But here we go, lap 1. You're going to see the players leaning. Oh, Nixotica takes it really interesting here. And here's the wiggle that we were talking about before. Nixotica was not able to grab that 5th gear. Unfortunately, the players will wiggle their way up there to try to nab that 5th gear last second, so that as they come out of the turn, it'll be nice and easy for them to gain speed. One of the things about anything that is not pretty much road is turning on gear shifts is ugly. You will end up slowing your car down even more. So you really want to try to be careful on noticing when your gear is going to turn. You saw that half pipe. Everyone did a really nice job there, coming up on the 90-degree wall. And, oh, Nixotica, I think, ended up tagging the wall a little bit and falls down pretty badly, down to 15th. So he's going to have to take that booster. And Revolution has been really having a rough first half of this season, sitting back here. And now Nixotica is going to be battling. At this point, play consistent, less risk, and just pretty much pray for mistakes. I mean, this identity, I have to personally say, is probably one of the easiest of them all, but it still can be a little tricky. As you saw, Nix's back left wheel actually nicked the wheel a little bit. Does a really good job recovering from that one. Gets through all 3 of them relatively with ease, and will be in 14th place for the first lap.
Yeah, this identity can be a little bit deceiving, especially the first jump, as most of the players will have far too much speed naturally to make it and line up with the correct hole. So they have to release or take a little bit of a weird angle in order to accommodate for that. But these are some of the best players in the world, so they can do so with a relative amount of consistency. As we see, I think that was Energy Z dropping down.
Yep.
That probably went a little bit too low on the wall jump and just nicked off the curvature of the wall. So that will drop him down quite a bit. And Nixo already jumping up into 11th position now. First lap looked to be pretty consistent out of most of the players, but now we're starting to see some mistakes.
Again, you're driving 6 laps on these maps. It can get A little fatiguing, you know. A lot of people, unless you do it yourself, you won't really feel how fatiguing it can be for them. Oh, we saw another person end up bumping into the wheel and flipped upside down, and that looks like that was Solja, who's all the way down at the bottom. Another player had to take the safe route. It looks like they didn't have enough speed. Not sure who that was. It looked like it was actually Link. So just like that, Nixotica is going to be climbing all the way back up to 8th place.
Yep, capitalize on that consistent line. We saw Link bonked against the side of the hole and did not have enough speed to make the subsequent jump. Those barriers are made of plastic, so you'll see players completely bounce off of them like they were bouncing off of rubber.
Oh yeah, and sometimes it could be a little forgiving. Sometimes, like you saw Nixotica, he clipped the back left wheel, but was still able to recover it. But man, if you come at that at full speed and you hit it in a round bad angle, you're going to be flipping and flopping all over the place, and it's not going to be pretty. And recovering from there is pretty difficult, especially if you hit that first checkpoint going for the first identity, and you're not in a really good angle or speed. You're not going to recover from that nicely, and you're going to have to start taking safe routes, as we saw Link do on the 3rd identity.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this identity is very much everything or none. If you make one mistake, then it throws off the whole rest of the run. So you really want to be nice and smooth and consistent, just like Nixo and the rest of the top back here as we roll into lap number 4. Nixo currently sitting in 8th position with about 2 seconds gap behind him. Looks like Miquatro in 9th place. Will probably try to hunt him down. But again, this map is pretty consistent, and pace-wise, most of the players will be running pretty similar pace. So it'll be kind of difficult to make up huge amounts of gaps without any mistakes.
Right, and again, this map is a lot more about consistency than taking risk, because of the fact of how I almost want to say like demanding the line is. It's like there's really only one good line. There's not like anything like, for example, Poolside, where you saw the players driving on the sides of the water, and some of them will take advantage of their speed and skip across the water. So you have more to risk with better reward in other maps, where this one, it's not a lot about high risk, high reward. It's just pure consistency, like I said. And I like how a lot of the players are whipping off the ramp. I believe that ends up just keeping your car a lot lower. I'm not really sure if they're releasing when they're going off the ramps towards the identity, but it's really nice because it keeps the car nice and low.
Yeah, they'll also be managing their rotation. So just driving off of jump, the car will rotate in certain ways, and if you adjust your steering right as you lift off from the jump, you can rotate your car, keep it flat, and maintain speed as you go through the 3 various jumps.
Also, I have to say that tunnel is kind of cool to watch it from a third-person perspective. When you play the game itself, the game forces you into a first-person or internal or camera 1, I think that is.
Probably camera 3.
Camera 3, you're right. Camera 3, sorry. So it's kind of cool to see that, see it from the external point of view, to watch it flip. It looks pretty sick, not gonna lie. But just so everyone knows, the players are not seeing it that way. They are in the cockpit watching, going through it. So to them, they're flat on the ground the whole time, while we see them doing all cool flips and stuff like that. So here we come again to the 3 identities, and Nixotica again just making them look real easy, while the rest of them up ahead also do as well. So Nixotica currently sitting in 7th, does a little bit of wiggle to gain a little more speed going through that turn. Otak is actually about I would say a little bit more than half a second behind Nixotica. So from here on out, Nixotica just needs to drive smooth, follow the line of the road, and just pretty much a guaranteed 7th place, knock on wood. I don't want to cast a curse again.
Well, guaranteed is a pretty caster cursey word, but we do see one player going down. It will be Wosile.
Hopefully I threw that on Wosile. I was planning it.
Yes. We were just setting it up perfectly. But Nixo will nab a nice 6th position because of that as we go into the end of this track.
Yeah.
Plenty of gap in front of him, so he'll probably just look to maintain this 6th position with a nice, smooth identity as he's been proving he's able to do.
Nicely done through the first one. You can see Snowman and Rozzy are actually battling for that 5th place position right now. So let's see if any of them take a risk. Not really. So Nixotica will take 6th place for bolt holes. Don't know what you guys are talking about. But hey, you know what? Best place so far this week, 6th place. Not too shabby. And we will we'll take those 17 points. Thank you.
Yeah, triple 6 places in the first 4 maps is a great performance out of Nixo. And I'm sure he'll be quite pleased with that as we roll into the multiplayer map.
On Soldier with a DNF. As you can see, that right there, you got a quick example of how unforgiving that is. You don't spin and get through the hole. Nope, you're just going to bounce backwards. So we will be moving on to, I believe, the 5th and final map. Here it is, the Wonky Grasshopper. This map is for me personally, it feels like it's another one of those unforgiving identities, like a Launchpad. I was losing it. This is not Rocket League. Yeah, no. Launchpad is a very tricky style. We're going to possibly see our first time really taking advantage of a nice little bug in the game called bug sliding. We haven't seen that at all in TMGL or TMGL challengers this season. So it will be our first time getting introduced to a really neat little bug or glitch, whatever word you want to use, called bug slide. And we'll see if Nixotica will get there for this. That part right there too, that jump to the plastic is very unforgiving if you do not have enough speed. You'll bang right into that, and it's so hard to recover from that one. This map, unfortunately, is not as smooth as we saw in the last one. There are some little bit of trickier areas. Really trying to maintain your car, all 4 wheels on the ground, doesn't always work out for you. As you can see, the transitions from part to part can get a little wonky. And this is our first time we're getting introduced to cruise control. That little ring with the blue dot on it, that basically stops the players from accelerating. Here we are with the first bug slide. So that was your example right there. Essentially what's happening is, as long as you can get your car kind of like ice to land on a 90-degree angle, and you hold your accelerator, your brake, and your turn all at the same time, you're forcing your car to turn towards the where your car is looking at a much faster speed.
Yeah, it's a weird one to explain, but it basically, you turn 90 degrees, hold brake and accelerator, and then you just suddenly zoop to one side or the other depending on where you're going.
We actually did get a question in the chat, a really good question for anyone that's not involved with TrackMania. Yeah, identity. It's not something you normally hear in other esports, but essentially identity is what makes this map special or unique. Remark basically said whatever is the BS of the map. It's the best way you could say it. So, for example, the name of the map is called Grasshopper. We see that they're the platforms that launch them up in the air. So that is the identity of it. But also to remind those tuning in for the first time in TrackMania Grand League, the 5th map is not driven in 6 laps. It is driven in 2 laps. And the way it works is that only 8 players will be able to walk away with a multiplier towards their score that they have gone for the first 4 maps. First 4 rounds are a 2 times multiplier. Round 5 and 6 is a 3 times multiplier. Round 7 is a 4 times multiplier. And round 8 is a 5-time multiplayer. You heard that right, folks. 5-time multiplier. And someone like Hydra, who's sitting with 77 points, could really benefit from it. And Hydra is currently sitting in first place for this one, but you will see players like Snow, like OTAC, like Revolution that are going to DNF, maybe DNF early, DNF late, just so that they can have advantage, because once you complete, and it's only the first player, the person who comes in first place, that will get that multiplier for that round. And again, there are only 8 rounds. But once you collect your multiplier, you are out for the rest of this map. So it really comes down to how much risk and reward you are willing to go for in this one. And Nixotica is sitting in fourth place.
Third, actually. One of these players is a lap down.
Wait, oh, you're right. I just noticed that.
It threw me off for a second because it just appeared.
Hey, Hydra actually takes the 2-time multiplier.
Yeah.
I'm pretty surprised about that, but okay. I mean, 154 points for this week for Hydra. I don't have the total points in front of me, but I'll see if I can pick that up while Snowman does some amazing casting.
Yeah, Hydra currently in third in the overall league standings at 756 points. And he may not be overly as confident on this map as he showed in that round, so he might have just said, I'll just take the ×2, because I don't expect to be able to beat the 15 other players again, and that can come into play. But yeah, he has plenty of room in the league standing, so he might also have just said, I'll just grab the 150 and call it a day. But Nixo, with a very good first round, finishes in third, so that'll help him to boost his confidence going into these next rounds here.
And just to clarify, Hydra is now sitting at 756 points, which extends his lead a little bit in third place from Evon. Evon is sitting at 595 points. When he has only 50 points this one, so this could be pretty nice for Evon if he could do it. Nixotica is just going to take advantage of being able to practice the identity. I don't blame him for this one. Again, this identity is very, very unforgiving. If you don't go for that bug slide, you're gonna lose speed. You can take it at a more straight angle, but recovering from the second and third jump does become a little trickier. So Nixotica just showing off what he can do there. But in the meantime, if our producer is alive and awake, let's check out the top 3. Thank you, Volt, sitting in our producing. Oh, Evon ends up bumping. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, so he's not going to be able to take this one. Soldier is going to, in fact, take the 2-time multiplier as well. Evon is just going to show off some cool little donuts. So let's see how many points Soldier is going to end with this one. That will be, in fact, 84 points. I'm going to do some quick caster math, which is never good, but he has, from accumulating 283 points,
367.
He's sitting at 367 points, which jumps him to 11th place. So Default is going to have to do some work here to try to get that place back. And as a reminder, the top 8 teams are the teams that are going to be moving to playoffs. So again, these multipliers are going to be really important. If we can get our eyes back on our boy Nixotica, that would be great. But currently we are on board with, oh no, there we go. We're on board with Nixotica, who is sitting in 8th place at the moment, and slowly but surely climbing up this one, up to 5th place, going through the cruise control driving there. Nixotica now in 3rd place. Evon, ooh, McQuattro took a wide one. Nixotica ends up not getting that one, so that is going to be another round. Nixotica is probably going to sit here and practice the identity. So if we can maybe hop on board with someone else, let's see how they're doing up in front. Default in 5th place. Poolside in 1st at the moment. He could potentially be walking away with 120 points for this one. which would help Volsile jump up to 5th place over Energize. So I wouldn't blame Volsile for going for it, but at the same time, if Volsile is feeling confident, I personally would say he should probably hang out until a 3 or 4-time multiplier, which will really get him closer to that top 4. So
Yeah, Wosal in the past known as a good player at weird and wonky mechanics. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was feeling confident in this map. But we'll find out. He does decide to take it anyway. So he will grab himself 120 points with the ×2 multiplier. Beating out Razi, I believe, was hunting him down.
All right, so with that, he is 497 points plus the 120. He's now with 617 points, and that does end up jumping him up to 3rd place. Wait, no, we got Hydra. Nope.
6.
Place. 6?
Yeah, I think 6 right at the moment.
I don't know. Caster math is hard, man. Caster math is hard. Again, this whole multiplier is kind of weird, but you know what? From the last time, if you were basically not in top 8 for the last map and losing all your points from the past season, I'll take the multiplier.
Yeah, multiplier is definitely much easier on the mental side of things. But it may not be the most fair in some people's eyes. Certainly we saw Nixo going into this map in 4th position overall in the standings. And we'll see where he ends up after the multiplier map. Whether or not it's fair or just, that is up to, I suppose, you to decide. But it is the format we have currently, and that is what we are going to be playing on.
Honestly, they should just double the points. I think that's all they should do. Just double the points.
You think 8 ×2s?
No, I mean more of what they should do is, if they're going to do the multiplier, what I personally would say is that not even don't do that. Just double the points on how much you can get. So 1st place, I believe, gets 25 points. Maybe they get 50 points. Make that last map a little bit more interesting, and only in 2 laps. I think that would make it really cool. But hey, we are not the ones who organize it. We're just here to watch and enjoy as Nixotica drives through this entire map smoothly. 288 miles per hour in that cruise control. Not a bad speed there. You gotta take this one really tight. Wow, Nixotica able to get that one. We saw Evon missing that one. Oh, there we go. There's the bump. I was expecting it. That was really tight. Mine good. What?
So I just witnessed 4 people in the top 4 all DNF, and Cap decided he'd finish.
Oh, Nixotica, if he just played through it, he would end up getting it. No way. Oh, how cruel. Everyone makes mistakes. Oh, okay, DNF. All right, so Cap walks away with 54 points. Not great in the standings for him, but hey, you know what? It's a lot more than he had originally. So now we are in the 5th round. These are the 3-time multipliers. Nixotica's back wheel ended up clipping the wall. He lost a lot of speed there. His first jump is going to be easy, but the second one will be a little tighter. He does recover nicely. We are still seeing some DNF, Snow and Revolution DNF out of that one. Nixotica is pretty far back, but again, if I were him, you could probably bank on the jumpers not really being too forgiving. So just play it out. At this point, we saw how many people just DNF'd at the end. I would just personally go for it. Just finish the map out.
Yeah, and I don't know how many people will actually be DNFing now that we're in the ×3. As we see, Nixo with a great identity actually overtakes basically half the field, and he moves himself up into that 4th position. Still pretty far back from Otak, though, who is currently leading. Otak definitely one that is likely to throw a ×3, as he's done so in the past. But yeah, but Energy Z and Mi Quattro less likely.
Energize ended up making the mistake anyway.
Yep. So it'll be...
Oh, come on, no. Oh, and the most unlikely place for Nixotica to make a mistake. Nixo makes it there, and he's going to have to let that one go, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's just going to have to reset for the next round. Still plenty of multipliers to be had as we ride on with Mikatra here, as he goes a bit too wide on the identity, will DNF himself. People are beginning to fly all over the place as we see Otak deciding to take the ×3 actually. So he will bake himself some nice juicy points there.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Honestly, this map is so unforgiving. I mean, you're going off off a launch to go into a bug slide off a launch, and pretty much hope that you release that bug slide in time to angle yourself straight towards the third launch. But the problem is, do it too early, you lose a lot of speed. Do it too late, and you're still pointing in the wrong direction. It is such a tricky. It's such a tricky mechanic. And we saw Energize ended up clipping that plastic. I even said it earlier. That is not the best transition, if you ask me. And Energize, unfortunately, will take the burden of that one. So that is one of the players that can technically take this next 3x multiplier. So that gives Nixotica a better chance. Otak, I mean, is... Oh, no, sorry. Mikwacho, I was correct. He's up in front, and he's one of the people that we expect to take it. I think I saw another person fly off, and another bump. Mikwacho makes a mistake. It's going to come down to Nixotica and Snow now. Snow really in a huge lead. Nixotica sitting almost 1.5 seconds behind. Nixotica needs to play this one nicely. Keep his nerves calm at all times. Through the dirt slide, very nicely done. Able to gain a little bit of speed back. Snow onto the plastic now. Nixotica as well follows in the plastic. Falling a little bit behind, going down 1/10 of a second, but still sticking relatively close. At this point, Nixotica just needs to play consistent and allow Snow to potentially make a mistake. Nixotica comes a little wide on that one. Onto the next plastic slide. Does a nice drift into it, going into the cruise control. Snow looks like he has a lot of speed going into that one. I think he ended up going a little bit wide. Don't get confused by Revolution. He's on the other lap. Snow gets the first one done. It looks like he was a little slow there. Nixotica is about to recover. If Nixotica can just get enough speed. No, he comes a little wide there, and Snow will end up taking that. That was the opportunity for Nixotica to take the 3x multiplier. So Snow will, in fact, take that one. Razi had the best lap, so I think he gets points for that. No, he doesn't get points. This is not the 5th map. I mean, it's not the 4th map. So with that, Snow is out of the way. Nixotica did show a lot of promise. This is the 4x multiplier. I don't know if people are going to start taking higher risks, if they're going to just try to do the bug slide or maybe not do it, depending on how the position they are. But this would be huge for Nixotica. The 4x multiplier sitting with 53 points would be amazing for him, especially because he has been struggling down at the bottom in 14th place in points overall. So it would be really nice to bump himself up. It would be almost at 400 points if he wins this one.
Yeah, and judging by the last round, there's no guarantee that any of the players currently in front of him will survive this identity. Only Snow and Nixo were the 2 players that did not make any mistakes, as this round proves very different and nobody makes any mistakes. So my comments are entirely justified, I suppose.
Hey, that's all right. I think people are now starting to buckle down, sit at the edge of their seat, as I am casting this one. Nixotica sitting in 7th place on the 2nd lap, pretty far back, 1.7. We saw someone make a mistake. I wasn't sure who was down there. Looks like it was Link. So Nixotica is going to climb up to 6th place and really coming up behind Mime, taking 5th place now. Still 2.3 behind Dufall and Energize coming out of nowhere. Just jumping up
Nixo
ahead.
did clip a little bit on
Oh, I
that
didn't
tech
see
turn,
that.
so he lost out on speed.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did not notice that one. I've been staring at the side of the live rankings to really see if anyone's going up or down. Evon really showing how good of a player he is. I mean, Evon, if I remember correctly, was in the main TrackMania Grand League and ended up falling down. Oh, Nixotica ends up pumping the tree. I don't even know why they added those trees. Get him out of there. Call the gardener.
Yeah, we have too many trees sometimes. That's a complaint. You don't hear too much in the real world nowadays, but in TrackMania, it can sometimes
Yeah.
be the case.
Real world, plant more trees. TrackMania, take them all out.
We can just switch them over. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but this is it. Final round, the 5 times multiplier. This is going to be huge if Nixotica can grab onto it. Currently sitting in 4th, falling up and down. It looks like, I believe that was Revolution, who ended up clipping a wall and DNFing. He just kind of gave up on this one. Nixotica still sitting in 8th place. A really nice job controlling himself through this one. The rest of the pack of 1st through 7 are all bunched up together, and Nixotica is actually catching up to all of them. What a nice play by him. Not too far behind now. Does a nice job of controlling that one. They are now in their cruise control. Everyone opting to stay on the inside of that turn. Getting past one. Here comes the first part of the identity. Second jump. McQuatra goes wide. Still able to recover. And Nixotica will still sit in 8th place. Moving on to lap number 2. Nixotica really sitting on the back of McQuatra right now. Ends up taking a little bit of that dirt, so lost a little bit of speed there. Into the dirt turn, uphill. And Nixotica still sitting in 7th place right now. Mime doing a really good job holding that lead. And Fegley is actually sitting a little bit behind him, almost a full second behind.
It does make a mistake, though.
Taking off. Oh, he does. I do see that one. So that's it for Fegley. He's going to be out for this one, most likely. Nixotica gets around Razi, climbing up again, really close. McQuatra and Link following 1st place. Nixotica sitting in 4th place. Mime doing a really good job. Let's see if he's going to be able to do the identities properly. He looks like he's got the lineup properly. The first one gets the second jump nicely. McQuatra and Link follows. Nixotica as well. And Dufall ends up jumping ahead, but it doesn't matter. It all matters about 1st place, and Mime will take that one. That'll be it. Mime will get the 5-time multiplier. And what a nice multiplier for him. 305 points walking away out of that one. And Mime, I believe, with that, does take 1st place.
Yeah, he bumps himself up over Otek.
He does. He bumped over Otek. And that's big for Mime. I mean, it's nothing to my surprise, honestly, because of how well how well Mime has played. He was a TrackMania Grand League player. Unfortunately, he did fall down into the Challenger division, but I wouldn't be surprised if he found his way back up into the main event.
Yeah, it was Evon who had fallen, but Mime is very much.
Sorry, you're right.
Evon is very much on, or Mime is very much on the rise and is a big favorite to jump into the Grand League for the next season. As long as he can keep up his pace that he has been showing throughout the season.
So
but
that'll be it. Sorry to cut you off there, Snowman, but yeah, that will be it for step number 6. The main division will be in about an hour. So if you want to go check that out, go ahead and check that out on the main Twitch channel of TrackMania, twitch.tv/TrackMania. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in with us today. Snowman, thank you again, as always, for holding down the caster booth until I can get myself here. And we're going to be calling it a week. Snowman, do you have anything you'd like to say before we get out of here?
Nope, I don't have too much to say. Obviously, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to cast with you and hold down any forts you need holding down. But I am looking forward to the next week per usual. But for now, we can all enjoy the Grand League in about an hour or so.
Yeah, and if you are a TrackMania player, get into TrackMania. A cup of the day has just started. But with that, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. 2 more steps to go. Step number 7, same time, same place next week, 12 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to tune in there. I'm Randomized. He is Snowman. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week for step number 7.